In this video, you'll learn how to use the tools in Revit to create parametric relationships between various elements. This helps create an accurate building model as well as communicate design intent. Here we have a simple exercise file where we can look at a few scenarios that you'll encounter throughout the course of a project. I'll start by opening the Level 1 floor plan view, and then I'll double-click this section head to open the section. And here we can see where the floor comes in contact with a wall. This is an example where we can use the Join Geometry tool. On the Modify tab in the Geometry panel, there's a Join button, and that'll activate the Join Geometry tool. And when I activate that tool, we can then select the elements that we want to join. So I'll select the floor, and then I'll select the wall, and now that geometry is joined. Additionally, we can go back to that Join button and expand it. It's a split button, and there's also an Unjoin Geometry tool, as well as a Switch Join Order tool. So when we click Switch Join Order, and then once again select the floor and then the wall, it now switches the priority or the order of that join. So depending on what you need to accomplish, you can use that Switch Join Order tool, and you can also unjoin the geometry as well. So when I click Unjoin Geometry, then I simply select one of the elements and then they are unjoined. So once again, join geometry, switch the join order, or unjoin the geometry to help model a certain condition. Next, I will go back to the default 3D view, and let's take a look at this example here where we have the wall and then the roof, and they do not come into contact with each other. What we can do is we can attach the top of the wall. So when I select a wall, you can see on the contextual ribbon tab, there is an Attach Top Base tool. And when I click Attach Top Base, I can then choose in the options bar whether I want to attach the top or the base. So I'm going to leave top selected, and then I'll select the roof. And I now attach the top of the wall to the roof. I can simply click in blank space to deselect it. You'll also notice here we have a little opening in the corner. I can select this wall and do the same thing, attach top base, and with top selected, I'll select the roof, and then I can click modify or click in blank space. We'll orbit around here and do the same thing. Attach top base, make sure top is selected, select the roof, and I'll do the same thing with this other wall. So once again, really what we're doing here is we're just attaching the wall geometry. We're adjusting that wall profile, and so instead of having to manually edit that profile, we can just attach the top. And then if you had a condition at the floor, you could then attach the bottom. You'll also notice here that we have the detach top base option. If we need to detach, we could detach it all. I'm not going to do that for this example. Okay, lastly, I'm going to switch to the Level 1 floor plan view, and we'll look at creating some constraints. Depending on what situations you have in your model, you can do an alignment constraint. So for example, on the Modify tab in the Modify panel, there is an Align tool. I'll activate Align, and then I'm going to simply use the center lines of these two walls. And after I create that alignment, there is a padlock icon. And when I lock that by simply clicking it, I've now created an alignment constraint. For example, when I click Modify and then select a wall, I'll use the arrow keys to simply nudge it to the left. And as I do, you can see that the other wall that we aligned is moving with it. And the reason is because we have an alignment constraint.